It's time for Pure Performance.
Get your stopwatches ready. It's time for Pure Performance with Andy Grabner and Brian Wilson.
Hello everyone to another episode of Pure Performance. You may wonder, why is it my voice, Andy, and not Brian Wilson, who typically does the introduction and passing it over to me? Well, today he's not here. And he will be very, very sorry, because the person that is next to me is my guest. I think it's the first time we'll have a musical actually on the Pure Performance podcast, and I'm so happy that I found you. I mean, I didn't find you, kind of, but Bart Enkelaar. Hopefully, I pronounced this correctly. Yeah,
that's absolutely fine.
Perfect, Bart. I saw your performance at SLOConf, and I was blown away. The way you transported an amazing message, the way you became an advocate for SLOs, for service level objectives, but packaging it up in a musical. Because I think people have different ways how to memorize things, and I think music is a great way to transport things. And I'm just very happy that you then decided and agreed on going on a podcast with us to talk about everything that gets you excited and got you excited to make this presentation, to write a song, to write a musical about SLOs. I think there's more about SLOs. There's SRE. I mean, who are you, by the way? Let's say that way. Introduce yourself to the audience, and then we'll dive into the topic. I think there will be some music later on, and we'll see where the conversation takes us.
Yeah, let's go for that. So thanks a lot for that great introduction, Andy. It's quite an introduction, I must say. So indeed, my name is Bart Enkelaar, and I'm a lead site reliability engineer at bol.com, which is the largest online retailing platform of the Netherlands and Belgium. So we're basically the Gallic village against Amazon in the Netherlands and Belgium, essentially. So yeah, I've been a backend engineer mostly since 2008, and joined bol.com 6 years ago, and really got more and more interested in the operational side of things as I did different things at those companies. And we basically started our DevOps journey around 2016. Mm-hmm. And we consider that to be basically done in 2018-ish. Yeah. And after we wrapped up that project of the big DevOps transformation, we noticed that our attention to operational standards and to the reliability of different parts of systems was slowly declining. And also, like many tech companies, we've been growing every year. Mm-hmm. So the performance problems that we were having were expanding, and we really went looking for a new way to take another next step in the way we balance that reliability with our high innovation needs. Mm-hmm. And that's how we came at SRE. And also, that was around 2018, I think, that we started experimenting with it. And around that same time, we also started moving to the Google Cloud. So having some connections with Google, of course, champion SRE through their CRE program quite heavily, that make that connection fit extra. So that's when we started on that journey. Is like, man, this is what we want to do. And I personally was really enamored from this because I have a history of backend engineering, right? So the endless tightrope pull between the PO and the team is like, no, we need focus more on improving the technical health of our systems, but no, we need more features, And I was always slightly frustrated by the fact that was a struggle, because it was like, but we have the same goals here. Why don't we agree? And then suddenly in SRE, I saw this solution. Like, yes, this is it. That realignment for user happiness. For me, that was Yes. So then more and more people were started getting interested in Bol.com, and we actually did a pilot that failed due to all kinds of reasons. And at that point, some people were thinking like, okay, this SRE thing's maybe not for Bol.com, but we have a failure here. That is awesome. That means we can learn. So I turned that failure into a big evaluation, and that into a big plan, and sent that plan to the board. And they're like, oh yeah, this is a good idea. And here we go. And now we're doing more and more SRE every day.
Yeah. But this also means your company is definitely mature enough to actually allow failure. And I think this is part of the cultural transformation as well, that you're not just afraid and just assessing risk all the time and saying, no, we can't do this because eventually we fail. I think it's about embracing failure. Not that you want to fail all the time, but as you said, you want to learn from failure. Now, I have one question because you said you had the DevOps transformation. It took about 2 years and you considered it done, even though we all know it's always a journey. It's nothing like this is done. The way I try to explain and figure out what's DevOps and SRE, I always think that DevOps is really people using automation to speed up delivery on the one side, really improving lead time for change, really taking automation to get features fast out into production. On the other side, I see SRE coming obviously from the operation side and saying, hey, we're constantly having things change. How can we now use automation to keep the system resilient, even though changes are much faster than ever before? And kind of in the middle, right between these two teams, I think there's an SLO. Because SLOs are really what kind of is the contract and kind of the common goal for everyone, because you want to deliver services that make your end users happy, and you can measure this either using, page load times conversion rate for the business, but it can be a technical metric like, how resource hungry are we, and are we still making money, or is the infrastructure more costly than before? How often do we fail and stuff like this? And I'm sure there's different other metrics, but in the end, for me at least, the way I take it, SLOs, service level objectives, are a great way to align everyone, whether it's DevOps and SRE, who kind of use automation from two different sides, whether it's the business that obviously wants to get more and more features out, but in the end, we need to agree on a couple of indicators, and this is stuff we want to deliver, right? Because we assume if we deliver on these promises, then we'll make more money, and everybody's happy.
Yeah, and indeed, the key here, I think, is that these indicators and these objectives are part of the process, right? So this is also not a one-time agreement, and then we all know what to do, because they will not match everyone's expectation at some point. And that is a problem that is just as much a bug as a feature bug would be.
Exactly. So now, Bart, from your experience, now you said you were a backend engineer, but you were interested in operations, then SRE came along. I think some of our viewers kind of have the same thing, but SRE is the big new thing. I see a lot of people on LinkedIn changing their profiles. First, they all became DevOps engineers. Now everybody tries to become a site reliability engineer. A lot of people have no real, I don't want to offend anybody, but some people just put it into their title, even though they may not really know what it really means, or because their organizations say we need to up level, we need to show the world that we're doing it. How can you, and how have you actually brought SRE, and how do you explain SRE? How can you motivate change agents within an organization to actually become a change agent? I know you can write probably a song about it to get excited. But what are the things that you did? How did this start, and what can others learn now from that?
So I actually one of the presentations that I gave on several conferences last year was the case for SRE, and when I gave that at Agile Testing Days, I started it with this the first parts of the song that became the first scene of the musical later. And so my main case for SRE as such was that this is a industry standard that is developing, but that of course can be a bit of a double-edged sword, because it might be a hype. I don't think it is, but people can waylay that argument in that way. But the fact that it is an industry standard means that there is external specialists that think this is a good idea that can be brought in to help the transition. And I think that's a good thing. And then at the same time, we were actively noticing this problems with the reliability of our platform. So not only was this an external solution, it's also a solution that addresses a concrete problem that we had. And what I did in the plan that I sent to the board and that I used them to convince them to give us resources to actually start doing something in the company and start this change, was that I explicitly took a couple of concrete problems that we had in the company, and I said, SRE can help solve this. So by taking this transition, this basically mind shift that you have to push out to the whole organization and bringing the goals down from we should all do everything differently to these are small concrete problems that we can fix as a first step. Which incidentally is also the first steps on our journey to getting to this SRE mindset. That was, I think, the most successful things that we did to enact that change at Bol.com.
Now, can you share a couple more details? Because I think when I go out now and I asked what is SRE, I'm not sure if I get the same answer and also not maybe the same starting point. Like, can you be a little more specific on like some of the, like you said, you took some concrete problems and said, and SRE will fix it. So what is this SRE now? Is it automation in operations? Is it sitting down and bringing the stakeholders together and say, let's define what our success criteria is and let's figure out how we can achieve this? What was it?
Yeah, so that is indeed an interesting question, because we were at the situation that we had this DevOps transition. So we had quite some experience with automation and the whole department that handled things like Prometheus clusters and metrics tooling. So those kind of traditional SRE innovations were not necessary in our company. But as I mentioned, we did have this cloud transition. And we also still have sort of an operations team that manages operations for all the applications that still run in our own data center. And in our cloud transition, we said, no, we want to do full DevOps. Our teams should have complete ownership over operations of their applications. But the problem we had was that we had teams of like 2-3 people. And if a team of 2-3 people manages 5 different microservices, then asking them to be on call puts quite a bit of strain on that team. But the operations team was so busy with managing all the DC applications that they couldn't take that on call either. So there was no solution basically in the company for on call, and we were going live with the cloud migration, and we were going live with critical services in the cloud, which we couldn't support outside of office hours. So this was one of the problems where I said, well, this is something we can fix from the SRE team. We can build the tooling to enable people to take ownership of that outside of office hours operations, and then facilitate the conversation between the software team and the people who take that responsibility who can do a full normal on-call rotation. That's what we did. Basically, we built virtual teams of software engineers who are available, who are organized per product domain, essentially per value domain, who take over the outside of office hours responsibility for those teams. And we support them from the SRE team out by building tooling for them and helping them innovate the processes that they use to do that on-call support.
So that means you are, if I understand this correctly, your vision and your implementation of SRE is that you, as the SRE team, you are kind of providing reliability as a service to the teams, right? Enabling them, obviously showing them how this works, how to use the metric.
Yes.
I mean, how to get monitoring in there, how to get alerting in there. But I assume you helped them earlier also with architectural decisions, because SRE should not just be, I tell you faster that something fails, and that means you get triggered so much more often than you have to work nights and weekends. But it starts
exactly.
Reliability starts with the first architectural decisions, and it's a continuous effort. And I think that's where you also help. That's cool. And then you have virtual teams that are kind of from a particular problem domain. You pull them together and then they are in rotation, because obviously things will happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, does your SRE team then, so your team is never on call. That means you're really just providing the tooling and the best practices and the mentoring, and are you also on call or not?
Yeah. What we do is we make sure that there's one SRE in each of these rotation pools. So that single person specializes in that domain to enable those software engineers to run the shift together, essentially, so that we also get the experience from the front line, essentially, and we eat our own dog food in that sort of way. And that's basically the biggest part of what we've been doing last year. And at the same time, we're trying to facilitate the shift of all the products to collaborate together using SLIs and SLOs, because we still have a big challenge there, and that's basically the other part of what we're doing. And this is also where the music comes in, because that's lots of evangelization.
Do you think this is the trigger point for some live music now?
I think we can go there. And maybe there's a little story that I want to tell about it, and feel free to cut it out if you want, because I sing in an Irish folk band, and I've always played in several bands all my life. But to me, my work and my passion for music was always separate, and we have a director who's really focused on diversity, and her vision of diversity is, wouldn't it be great if we could enable everyone to bring their whole self to the table every day? And that got me thinking about, what am I doing with this hard split between music and my work? Because there's so much passion and energy I get from the music outside of my work. Why not bring that into my work? And that was scary as hell to me, but she provided me with the inspiration to okay, I'm going for this. I'm bringing my whole self into work, and then I did that with the agile testing days, and then with SLOConf I tuned it up a notch, and there's several internal presentations where I've done several kinds of songs. And
I wanna tell you, I think this is awesome, and I think, especially if you become, let's say, an advocate, an influencer, a game changer, whatever it is, I think you're only truly believed by people if you are true, and if you are natural, and if you are who you are. And you should not be just, this is what I am from 9 to 5, and this is who I am the rest of the time. So I think this is great. And I told you earlier, for me, my passion in life besides my work is salsa dancing. That's where I met my wife. When I get on stage at some of the events and they have music, they typically play some salsa music, and I just do some little moves. But it's just because this is who I am, and I'm very proud of it, and I love it, and it changed my life. And I like the passion of Latin music, so I can encourage you, as you are producing more songs, maybe at some point in the future you're producing some Latin beats, and I would be happy to get on stage with you, maybe at Agile Testing Days, because I know these guys as well. And then you play, I bring my wife along. We do some salsa dancing. My wife is also, she's an SRE, or she's a DevOps engineer. Yeah.
Nice. And you know that Jose would love that.
Yeah, of course.
So I love that idea. The drummer of my Irish folk band is actually from the Caribbean, so we bring in some Caribbean tunes there, and I'm sure he'd be up for some salsa. So I love this concept, and I'm definitely gonna come back to you on that. as you can probably hear, I've been getting more and more excited about bringing this music into my work. So I'm definitely planning to do.
So
more
we call it the SLO, the salsa level objective. See, that's
nice. Okay, you know what? I'm writing that down.
Or maybe
it's recorded. Actually, I can just.
Yeah, it's exactly. Whether it's salsa level objective or salsa Latin objective, we will figure something out.
Yeah. Exactly. So, shall I go for the song?
I think you should go for the song. Do it. Nice, Show us your passion.
Right. Yes. So, the setting is that we're diving into the history of IT, guided by the Big Bang Theory, essentially. Innovation was managed in a waterfall form. When around the new millennium, agile became the norm. The web it did explode and it increased the overloads. The monoliths they couldn't cope to service. There's no microservices, cloud contained dependencies, increased system complexity. So now we all need SRE. SRE! Once upon a time there was a site to search upon, and as they grew and grew their operation game, it grew along. DevOps gave the frames to give the learnings proper names, harnessing that driven ways to maximize their user happiness. They put it in a book to give the world a proper look, and they called it SRE. Oh, now we call it SRE.
SRE.
It's a way to make our users more happy and to maximize our innovation speed. Goodbye to wrong incentives and conflicting bad directives. Our best and brightest figure that everyone should really SRE. Woo! Yeah! Now it's 2021 and SRE's been built upon community of thrives and conversations are alive. Poor performance is a book. I don't know what this is going, but now we have all SRE. Embracing blameless failure modes, next level infrastructure codes is what we have at SRE. So come and do it, SRE! SRE!
SRE!
Woo!
This is awesome. This is just phenomenal. See, what's your colleague called who said diversity, bring in your full self? What's her name?
Her name is Margaret Verhaag, I believe.
Margaret, we should thank her. I will thank her because this is phenomenal, right? Because see, we are all if we are in this as a whole, I think we can do more things than just like being put in a box between 9 and 5, right? And if we're just told what we're supposed to do instead of us bringing in the best.
It's not Margaret Verhaag. She's one of our directors. I think she's Versteden. Verhaag is one of the IT directors.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
Maybe cut this out.
That's really good.
But she's awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
And there's this video where she tells this story, and you should link it with the podcast.
Yeah, definitely. You should send me over all the links that we should add to it. Hey, Bart. Now there's a lot of material out there from you. I can encourage everyone. SLOConf. You call it the game of SLOs. A 3-part reliability musical. Just phenomenal. More music from you. More stories. Really nice. Then you also have friendly tech chats. What is that about?
Yes. So an ex-colleague of mine, he left the company, and we were like, but we had this amazing disagreements all the time. How come now we can no longer disagree? It's like, okay, let's just do that online. So we're both fairly experienced backend engineers, and we really focus on quality code and what it takes to bring quality code to production quickly. Mm-hmm. And so every week we have a new subject about that, and we love to we started this year, and we love to get input there and questions there, and we kind of hope. Mostly, we're just enjoying what we're doing, but we can use a couple more opinionated people who tell us about what we're saying wrong.
It's always it's good that we are in a world where we don't all agree, because then everybody's the same and nobody's different, and then the world is really boring. And in this case,
and not only that, the world is too complex to grok. So if we would all agree, we would all be wrong in the same way, and we definitely never get to a better place.
Hey, I wanna quickly ask. I want to ask you one more question before we stop this, because I've been advocating for SLOs just as you do, right? But the challenging thing is always, what is a good SLO? What are the SLOs I start with, right? If I'm new to SLOs and I have to sit down and I have to say, okay, what are my 3 SLOs I start with? I'm responsible for a particular service, a critical application. What do you say?
Yeah, I start asking questions.
Yeah. Okay. What questions?
So, is this a mostly synchronous service? Is this HTTP endpoints, or does this mostly do ETL or message processing? Because and then depending on that answers for HTTP, you go availability, latency, probably, and for messaging, I find that often messaging also benefits from a process latency, which is an easier way to understand throughput, I guess.
Yeah, I guess a little more challenging to measure though, right? Because if you send a message, how can you measure when the whole process that starts asynchronously is done? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly. So you'll need some timestamps, and usually you need to collaborate with more systems to get that data there. Yeah. But that's not a reason to not do it, of course.
Yeah. Very good. I think there's also a lot of great information at the rest of the SLOConf. So folks, if you have never heard about SLOConf, even though we mentioned it in the previous recordings, great conference that was initiated by Noble 9. And I really like the format. It was like only 10 to 15 minute short presentations where you really as a presenter had to think hard on how to get the content that you want to transport in a short and concise way, but makes it easier for the consumer, because we are, I think, all tired of listening and watching videos that are an hour long, even though I make the same mistake that I produce too much content and too long. But try to follow my own advice today and keep it short and precise.
Yeah, no, excellent plan. And I wholeheartedly agree with that recommendation.
Yeah. Bart, before we part, that almost sounds like something that would go into the line of a song.
Maybe a salsa song about
maybe something, but maybe then in Spanish, because people.
Yeah, but does it rhyme in Spanish?
That's a question. We'll figure it out. I'll ask my wife, or we can ask Jose. We'll figure it out. So I want to just recap on some of the things that I really liked about your story. First of all, a transformation is never over. There's a difference between DevOps and SRE. I think what you did with SREs is that you said, we had certain issues. Let me propose to you how we can fix it. And the way you addressed it as your team is providing services, tooling and services and mentoring to your development team so that they can take ownership of the applications that are deployed in production. I like the concept, the way you do it. You have virtual teams where engineers from the different product teams, it seems, that share the same problem domain, come in, but with an SRE, and then they rotate so that they're not on their own. Obviously, you are an amazing singer, and diversity rules. And I think diversity is getting us forward here.
Yeah. Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks a lot for having me. I've seriously enjoyed myself, and I thought it was a really interesting conversation. So thanks.
And I hope it's not the last one. And let's promise to the world, or maybe let's threat the world, at some point in the not too distant future, we get on stage together, you sing, I dance, and we have fun and we inspire people.
Yes, let's
do this. Cool. All right. Now, wave goodbye to everyone out there, especially to Brian. I'm so sorry you aren't with us today, because you would have enjoyed this even. more than I know you do typically with these sessions. Bye-bye.